The Cannabis Conversation. A European perspective on the emerging legal cannabis industry.
Welcome to the Cannabis Conversation with Anuj Desai, where we explore the new legal cannabis industry by speaking to the professionals that are helping shape it. Hope you're all well. So this is my last episode before a long overdue summer break. I've loved doing this podcast, obviously, but it's quite a commitment to put shows out every week, so I'm looking forward to a proper break. We're off to the south of France, and things feel like they need maybe a bit of a refresh when I do come back, so I'm very open to ideas. If you want to get in touch, please use the traditional routes. This episode has a very Swiss feel to it, which is great timing as we have some good news from Switzerland that they've just brought in new medical cannabis rules on the 1st of August. We'll hear more about that from Ben in this episode. We also talk about an upcoming conference in Zurich called CB Expo. I'll be chairing a panel and participating in another there. Please do come along. I went to CB Club earlier this year, which is slightly more smaller and intimate event, but it was really fantastic. This one is bigger, and so I'm looking forward to seeing lots more people there. I'll share links to tickets, etc. when I put the show out. Once again, this episode is sponsored by our good friends at Lumino. Lumino have recruited marketing managers for conferences, but they are usually in attendance at a lot of these conferences in Europe, so chances are you probably met them at one. They are expert networkers and very well connected, so definitely worth a chat. So as always, if you need help with HR recruitment, please do get in touch with them at luminorecruit.com, and obviously mention my name when you do. Now, on with the show. Enjoy, and also have a lovely summer. On today's show, I have Ben Arn. Ben is CEO of Cannatrade and CB Company. They are both events companies based in Switzerland. Ben, welcome. How are you?
Hello, thanks. I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. We saw each other recently in Cannabis Europa, but you've just literally got back from Berlin. There's a few events going on there. How was that?
That was nice. Berlin is always a good city to travel, and we could feel hardly the spirit of the hopefully upcoming legalization over there. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah, fantastic. And also in the sunshine, I imagine. It's quite warm at the moment.
Yeah, sunshine, and it wasn't too hot. The days I've been there, it was only 22 to 25 degrees, so I was there in perfect space.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, look, man, we met a couple of times, and I've come to your conference in Switzerland. We're going to talk about cannabis events and conferences in general a bit later, but I always like to start with your sort of personal backstory. So if you can just sort of tell us a bit about you and how and why you got into the cannabis industry.
I started when I was 11 with organizing events. That was a school discuss at this time. So that was like where the passion of organizing events probably found its start. And with maybe 16, or let's say officially with 18, I started to consume cannabis. And back in these days, it was almost legal here in Switzerland, or let's say not illegal. Many people will remind the time of the Duftsäckli, the so-called smelling bags. So I grew up here in Switzerland in an environment. We could smoke joints in the train. We could buy our weed in legal stores. We could buy plants and seeds. We could grow at home. So I learned how to grow outdoor at the grandmother's garden. So that was really, really a nice time. And when I turned to 20, the political situation changed, and there wasn't any more an upcoming legalization in view. So all the stores had to close, all the growers had to leave Switzerland at the end of the day. And that was back in 2004. And we started here an initiative, and we collected 100,000 signatures to legalize cannabis in the years between 2004 and 2008. So that's how I came into the cannabis industry, basically as an activist. And there was an office in Bern. It was called the hemp office. There was this political initiative crew was there, but also Cannatrade. It was the head office of Cannatrade, of the founder, Marco Kuhn. And he did Cannatrade from 2001 to 2005. And then probably also because it was over somehow, He left Switzerland, and this project Cannatrade was just, let's say, lying around in the office. And I was a young and very motivated, but also very naive boy. So I decided to let's do it. And since then, 1,000 times already I thought, why? But also 1,000 times again, because of that, because of this. So it was really like, I would say, a special journey that what's now 16, 17 years I'm doing it. We were from a country almost legal to a country with no more legal situation. And then the CBD came in 2016. So again, we had a growing industry in the past few years. Now it's like the next, let's say, a little bit hole. The CBD market or the CBD wholesale market here in Switzerland is not great, actually. But on the other hand, we have a new medical law, and finally, from the 1st of August, it will be allowed to grow and to export medical cannabis, and the patients in Switzerland will get easy access. That's one of the good things. And we also start with pilot projects for recreational cannabis in later this year. And now, again, the upcoming legalization is very close. So I will continue.
That's brilliant, man. And I love the activism side of things. And actually, it's worth probably just giving a bit of a brief overview of Switzerland and what's happening there. And, because it's progressive in a way. You've got a 1% rule on THC, is that right, in CBD products? Or what's the definition there?
Yes, that was already made back in 2011. Then was the last change of Switzerland's law of narcotic, and then they changed it from the 0.3 EU state to the 1%. And at that point, some growers started to create strains which are smokable and usable and with a high amount of CBD. And in 2016, the first company announced it to sell it legal as a flower. And I still remember the moment. That was in spring 2016 when they called me, and we were planning for Cannatrade 2016. And they called me and they said, "Hey, Ben, we will come with flowers." And I was like, "You stupid guys, so don't fuck me." And they said, "No, Ben, believe us. We will send you the documentation. We have the OKI of the authorities." That was back in the days, let's say the Minister of Tobacco who had to sign it. And finally, they really came. They came with flowers to Cannatrade 2016. And for the first time, we had a legal flower product at Cannatrade, because already back in the days, it never was legal then. It was just tolerated. So that was a big change. Yeah, then within, let's say, 1.5 years, we had approximately 2,000 growing facilities here in Switzerland. We're growing the CBD weed. We started again with the Cannaswiss Cup. It's another project we do. That was founded back in 1998 in this old period of this, let's say, tolerated cannabis market in Switzerland. It's a box and you can buy it and you find the best strains in it. Only marked with a number, so you don't know the producer, you don't know the strain, you can buy it, and then you vote for, let's say, number 5. This is the best. And we did it, or the old founder of Cannatrade did it from 1998 to 2005. I was there in 2006 at the last hot cup with the THC weed in 2006, and then we had to stop. But with the CBD came up in 2016, we realized, okay, let's do it again. And we created a box with the 35 best CBD strains every year. And it's now 5 times we did. And now we're looking forward to hopefully soon be able to do it again with THC cannabis.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. You mentioned medical cannabis, but is there a trial as well? A couple of trials coming up in Switzerland?
Yeah, there are the two things. On one hand, we had the trials. This is for recreational cannabis. So every city in Switzerland can register for or announce a trial with a max of 5,000 people. And it has to be accompanied by a study with a university. And several cities like Bern, Zurich, Basel, and many others will start. The first one will be Basel. There, approximately by mid-September, the first legal recreational cannabis flower with more than 1% THC will be sold. So this will be a highlight happening in the next few weeks. And beside that, we have the medical finally coming too. So it's like on two lines, and maybe even more, not more important, but what many people don't know at this point is back in the parliament, in the Swiss parliament, there was an initiative launched last fall in October or November to fully legalize the whole cannabis story here in Switzerland. And nobody really believed into it, but it came through the two chambers. And now the parliament has the job to create Switzerland's cannabis law to regulate everything from seed to plant to sell to consume, really overall. And this initiative is a bit connected to the pilot project. So there, I would say that first results of the pilot projects will flow into this study. And we expect, if everything goes fine, we can expect a legal recreational cannabis market in Switzerland in 2025. So actually, I always tell the people there is a race between Switzerland and Germany happening right now.
Well, I like that because it seems like a kind of reasonable and sensible prediction on how long these things take. It's quite complicated, right? And you need to get it right, in my opinion. You can't rush these things because if you get it wrong, the fallout can be quite bad, I think, and it can set everything back quite a while. So I think it's sensible to get some evidence from the pilots and the trials and help them.
Absolutely. And I guess it's also the normal, typical Swiss way. We are not super fast, but it looks like we're doing it properly. And for me, it seems really good how they started it and how it's going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you for that rundown on Switzerland and what's happening there. Maybe we can talk a bit about the specific events that you're responsible for. You've got a couple of different brands. Would you mind telling us a bit about that?
For sure. As I mentioned, there is Cannatrade since 2001, and this started like a fair for smokers, for home growers, for sure. Also back in the days for the first businesses. Then back in the days, it was mostly the seed companies and let's say the growing material companies like fertilizer and lights, etc., were around Cannatrade. And latest with the upcoming CBD market in 2016, we saw that, okay, now new companies, bigger companies are entering the market also in view of future medical and the future recreational market. And then it was very interesting to see, okay, how or can we really manage to put all of the interested people into cannabis under one roof? And at Cannatrade, we speak about smoking joints, about the stoners, about the culture. And we decided to then, okay, let's do a second event for the B2B market, where let's say the big companies can do the business between them without having 1,000 joints in their face, to say it directly like that. And then it was also COVID in 2020, where we couldn't do Cannatrade anymore. And we started in the middle of the pandemic, we started with the CB Club as a small networking event for only 200 people. And it was a big success. It was a one-day event. We did it again this year in spring, where you were on stage, Anush. And I hope you enjoyed it too. The idea
Absolutely.
is to have time at the end, to have time to get information. We had some speeches there, but just short ones. And so the main goal of the CB Club is to have time to spend one day together, to meet as much people as possible. But also, because there are only 200 people, have time to speak with most of them. And out of this CB Club, out of this success, we launched last year the CB Expo. This is a bit bigger. It's a mix of our experience in organizing an exhibition and the need of having time of networking in a nice atmosphere at the CB Expo in the network area, and the conference again, or as well for the need of sharing information, sharing news, and discussing the actual challenges we have in the industry. So we launched the CB Expo, and it was a great success last year. We had a max of 1,000 people, which we could let in because it was still COVID back 2021, and we were sold out at the first time. So that was great, and we will do it again this year in September in Zurich. Yeah, let's say in 7-8 weeks. we will have the second edition of the CB Expo, Cannabis Business Expo and Conference.
Very much looking forward to that one.
Me too. And also, third project showed up. We will be the organizers of the IACM Conference in Basel in October of this year. So the IACM is always changing the locations, the countries. Many of them they made in Germany, but it's an international association, as we know. And because of the upcoming new medical law in Switzerland, they already wanted to do it in 2020. Because of COVID, we had to postpone it twice. But now finally we will do the Cannabinoid Conference 2022 with the IACM and with the Swiss Society of Cannabis in Medicine in October in Basel.
Fantastic. That sounds like a proper grown-up event full of the scientists.
Yes, that's for the scientists, exactly. And for the pharma companies at the end, we want to go into that or into this market. And yeah, looking forward to two of them. And last but not least is to say that with these two new events, let's say with the CB event and with the medical one, it also opens for us to go with Cannatrade really into the direction of making a cannabis festival for the consumers. Yeah, to let the joints be smoked there and having fun, and for the brands to really reach the end consumers and to have a party and nice 3 days with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, loads there. Thank you, Ben, for that kind of roundup of your busy life. And maybe now we could talk a bit more generically about, cannabis events and conferences. You've got some amazing experience. From your perspective, how important are these events for an emerging industry like cannabis?
Yeah, it's my business, so it's super very important. So, the pandemic showed it as very clearly if it's necessary or not. When the pandemic started, I saw many event organizers went in doing virtual conferences, virtual events. And as soon as the pandemic was over, all of them went back to real events. And for me, this is at the end the most important thing, not only for my business, but for everything I do. I like people. I like speak to people, and it sounds a bit weird, but to feel them. It is a big difference if I have a Zoom call with someone or if I meet someone in person. And also in my experience is to meet companies or people at a conference, at the stand, and then again in the evening at, let's say, at the after party or at the after work lounge or apero. Those two things together, there I made at the end the business I had to do. So I would say it's very important to meet each other. The big question is, how many times do we have to meet each other? Do we have to meet each other every 2 weeks at one of these thousands of conferences or events that happen right now? Probably not. So I see the future if I have a look to Europe. So my business is focused on Europe. If I have a look to that, I would say the more we will have a legal recreational market, there will happen many end consumers events in probably all the big cities in Europe, because an end consumer will probably not travel a few hundred of kilometers to visit an event, but he definitely would like to get the newest weed and the best bomb whenever. So I see the future of events like Cannatrade, they will go ahead in a crazy way when the recreational law will be here. In the B2B events, I would say there will maybe be a place for 2, 3, 4 events over the year in Europe, because I guess to see each other once a year is maybe a little bit too less. So I would say to see each other every 3, 4 months somewhere, that would be, I'll say the way I see it, to go ahead with connections and making business together.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if we were seeing each other every 2 weeks, there'd be a lot of drinking involved in that.
Also for our health, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. And it's really interesting that you split it up into the consumer side of things and the B2B. Obviously, I'm very much involved in the B2B, but because the consumer side is, I guess MJ Biz. Have you been to MJ Biz in Las Vegas?
Sadly, not yet. It was my plan in 2020, and then you know what happened.
Yeah. That's apparently like 35,000 people or something. That's huge. But I guess there's quite a lot of people working in that industry in the States or North America.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the differences are between sort of having a big event and having a small intimate one?
I mean, the main things, they always have to be done. In 2021, last year during COVID, we also made a small, let's say a small Cannatrade because we celebrated our 20th birthday. So we decided, okay, let's do a small event, just 20 stands. And at the end, we figured out, fuck, if we do an event with 20 or with 200 stands, the difference is, okay, the communication we only had with 20 clients and not with 200 clients. And you can count with one exhibitor, we have around 50 email conversation to organize a fair. So that was less work, but all the rest, it doesn't matter if I order 1,000 liter or 10,000 liters of beer. I have to order beer. It doesn't matter if I order 2 kilometers of a fence or only 2 meters. I have to order it. You see. So there are like many things. They just have to be done. It doesn't matter how big the event at the end is. For the big size, for sure, you need then more staff at the event than for the small size. And then if we have a look between the B2B events and the B2C events, there is for the B2C events, we do a way other program than for the B2B event. B2Bs, we have to invite the best speakers to create nice topics and to have a quiet audience to listen carefully what they're talking. We have to organize a nice food area with nice food, serve good coffee, and make space for meet each other and talk. And at Cannatrade, for example, we're organizing music, joint roll contests, and tattoo shows to attract the people. It's a festival. They want to walk through, and at every corner they want to see something new. And these are then really two very different things to organize.
Yeah, definitely. It's good that you mentioned speakers and stuff. B2B, that's really important, I think. But equally, there's people that go there who never end up seeing any speakers. So, how do you kind of balance the getting people into the room to listen to the people on stage?
I guess these are always it depends on the topic and on the speakers at the end. If there is a topic I'm interested into it, or if there is a speaker I'm interested to listen, then I sit in the audience. What I see is, when we did the first CB Club, we made only 5-minute speeches. And that was too short, honestly. At least 10 or 15 minutes would have been way better. But the idea, I saw the crowd enjoyed the idea to not have to spend an hour in a conference area, because if we only have one day or only have 2 days, I feel we don't like to sit there a few hours to listen, because always outside in the exhibition hall or in the network area, we could do some business. That's how I feel, because we want to meet the people. We also want to speak, not only listen mostly. So we took this experience of the CB Club also a little bit to the CB Expo. We have 6 main panels. That's not too much. That's only 6. So we try to figure out which are the 6 most important topics we have to talk about. And then we do the panel discussions with a max of 45 minutes. And then always have 1 or 1.5 hours between the panels. For sure, we have 2 other stages. We will have an education stage this year like last year, and we will also have the INCBA sessions of the International Cannabis Bar Association, which will be great having at CB Expo. So if you like, you can go from panel to education to INCBA, and you will have a full covered day. But in my opinion, it's very important to have some time to meet people and to talk to people during a conference, and not only to sit in the conference area.
Yeah, absolutely. That takes me on to the next question, was around networking. Are there any tricks, or, as you've been doing it for so long, have you seen that evolve? Are there ways that facilitate networking better than others?
I mean, there are many tools available. We also will start using Uva this year for the first time. Back in the days, we have been very, analog with that. Also, sometimes I meet somebody new on an app. Sometimes, but honestly, most of the people I meet at the bar, in front of the coffee line, or the best, I see you, Anush, and somebody's next to you, and you introduce me. That's how I met, I would say, 90% of the people. So only 10 maybe I met virtually first and then start working with them. So I guess there are nice tools. I also think about these speed networking tools. There are around. Maybe there are people, for some people, maybe if you're alone and you're coming new into the industry, then probably it's nice to start connections over an app or over a speed networking day. But I guess as soon as you're a bit inside and as soon as you know the first few great people, you just, let's say, follow them, follow the flow, and you will expand, let's say, your friends.
Yeah, I love that. And the old school ways are the best, I think. And it, completely lends to what you were saying before about everyone just needs to be in a room together much more and less on screen. So I totally agree.
What for me is very important then, I mean, if we are a group of nice people together, what else do we need? And in my opinion, there are only two things. Something nice to eat and something nice to drink, that we don't have to take care about, I don't know, go to see for where is the food. So this is where we give our focus at the CB event. So we try to serve you nice food, good coffee, good drinks, that you don't have to take care about that, but you can focus on meeting new people and enjoying and having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you delivered that really well. I thought it was a nice little venue and all of the things that you mentioned about how you sort of bumped into people and started talking to them. And I definitely like that. But as we sort of bring it towards an end, I guess my final question is, how important do you think it is to try and involve or get people from outside the industry coming to these conferences to learn more about what's happening?
Okay, for B2B, I would say very important actually in the current situation are the politicians to join, because they're the makers at the end of our new law. So they have to come to learn about. And what I see for sure is like new businesses from outside are coming into the industry, from insurances. The lawyers are already here for a long time. And we have now security companies asking for enter the market. I see all those new side businesses, they will enter and they're very welcome to come. But on the line of who has to be there, I see only the politicians who have to be there, because the end consumers at the end, or let's say all the people of the country, we try to attract them to come to Cannatrade, the B2C event. Or also we have another project, it's called Cannabis Village, and we went with that to the big Swiss public fairs where you can find a new cow and a new insurance and a new whirlpool for your garden. So we went there with the topic of cannabis, with like medical information, but also joint rolling contest, food, hemp seeds, hemp oil, hemp cloves, and CBD products. And it was a big success. So the people came there a little bit with critical opinion, and they left with 2 bags full of products. And I guess this was very important, or still is very important, to show the people you will not gonna die if you touch a cannabis plant, and probably you will find something you can use out of it. You don't need to be a stoner for that, but you will find some. And this is at the end also an important thing in to legalize or to have a legal recreational market in the future. We have to change people's mind. So I guess it's better if we go out with cannabis to meet the other people, and we don't need to bring them into our B2B events.
Yeah. That's really important, I think. And anything that can help destigmatize it all and make people less scared is a good thing, I think. But Ben, thank you so much for joining me. Always a pleasure to chat to you, man. So thanks again, and look forward to having you on at some point in the future.
Hey, thanks for having me. And I look forward to see you on stage at the upcoming CB Expo in Zurich.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please subscribe, rate, review, and share the podcast. It will help me spread the good word on how this amazing industry is developing. I work with various cannabis startups to help them get funded and grow. I also work with corporates and international cannabis companies to help them understand and navigate the European cannabis sector. We're working with some great clients across the cannabis value chain, and we'd love to help you too. Please visit www.canverse.global to get in touch.